Don't judge my mattress, the bed sheets are in the washing machine. Isn't it funny though, how women do so much to look and feel and be perceived as beautiful, and yet society does twice as much to convince us that we're not? There's always some new facial treatment or body procedure, new this, new that. Like, the pressure to be both a natural beauty and a high glam trophy doll is debilitating. When is enough enough?
For years, I believed I was ugly. And I can tell you the exact story from my childhood that made me believe that. I will never forget. I was in middle school, so I think 6th grade, because middle school was the first time we had interacted with new people coming out of elementary school. And my friend from elementary school, we were in gym class. While we were in the lockers, like changing. She was like, hey, I met this guy in, I don't know, like 3rd period or whatever period we had before gym. He is looking for a girlfriend for his friend. This was like, I don't know if this is how y'all middle schools operated, but sometimes people would just broker relationships, right? Because you just wanted to say you had a boyfriend. You just wanted to be able to say you had a girlfriend, right? It was just this thing that people did. And so she's telling me about it. She herself had not met the guy, but she was like, his friend says he's a nice guy. He's this, he's that, and he's just looking for a girlfriend. And I think you guys would be great. Cool. So she leaves the locker room before I do. Right? She leaves, she goes out, she comes back, she's like, oh my gosh, he just told me which boy it is. So now she's coming to get me from the locker room. We're peering out to see the boy. I think I got like one glimpse at him, whatever. Make no mistake, this was not teen heartthrob material, okay? Just an average Joe, no problemo. So then she like pulls me along to go meet the guy that she was like brokering the relationship with, right? Now, up until this point, I am feeling so good because my friend who, and this is going to come up again, light-skinned girl, light eyes, the picture of Black beauty standards at that time, was like vouching for me, a dark-skinned girl with natural hair, that I was also like, I could be somebody's girlfriend. Like, this was such a confidence booster for me, right? So I was feeling myself. I'm like, okay, my friend's not a hater. She think I'm cute. Like, we lie. So everything is going fine. I have all the confidence in the world. And it's like, when you have the confidence, especially when you're growing up, that's when the devil gonna try to humble you. We walk up to the guy that she's been brokering the deal with. It's just, I feel so silly saying that, but that's really how to describe how relationships were made in my middle school at that time, okay? We walk up to him, and that guy looks at me. He looks at me, he looks at her, and he literally says, ew, her? Throws his head back and starts laughing. Reader, it is important to note, because I know I just talked about the color dynamics. That young man, same complexion as me. The man in question, also same complexion as me. So this was throwing me off. Back in these times, early 2000s, you know, you didn't really see a lot of cross color mixing, but this wasn't that. So I was very confused. Okay. I was, first of all, I think to this day, that's probably the most embarrassed I've ever actually felt in my life. It took me a really long time to even be able to like think about this story without like crying. Like, even now I can feel the tears trying to form, but I'm strong. I don't cry on the internet. But like, no. Like, in all seriousness, like that should have been my villain origin story.
Good morning, editing Alpa here. I just want to address that last statement. I said that should have been my villain origin story, and that implies that that was not, in fact, my villain origin story, and it absolutely was. It absolutely was. You're going to finish watching this video, and you're going to see the journey I went through and the conclusion I came to, and I just don't want to give you guys the impression that this did not lead to villainous behavior. It did. I also don't want to give you guys the impression that I'm some type of fully formed, totally healed person who does not wish that man any ill will. That's not true. That's not true. If I saw him walking down the street and had the opportunity to knock his block off, I absolutely would. He could be with his children, his mama, his grandma, walking out of church, getting jumped by 1,800 people. I'm going to make myself 1,801. Okay? It's up forever.
That was like, oh, that was devastating. It was at what, 11, 12 years old? That was probably, at that point, that's probably the worst thing that had ever happened to me. And then up until now, that's probably the most embarrassed I've ever been. Like, that was like a turning point in my life. Y'all, I went right back in that locker room, skipped gym class, and hid. I hid for the entire class. I was so embarrassed. I was so low. All of the confidence that I had, because and I also want to stress, it wasn't that I lacked confidence. I've just always been very aware of the world. And so I did notice color dynamics very early on. I grew up around, it was diverse, but mostly around white people. And had a lot of mixed friends. Like I knew the color dynamics very early on, right? And so it never really bothered me until that point. I don't want to digress too much, but I remember the semester after that. So we had gym one semester and then health one semester for the same period. The semester after that, my health teacher was a dark-skinned woman, gorgeous, by the way. And I remember she was the first person who had ever spoke about colorism, like put a name to it, and she talked it. Anyway, let me not digress. Okay, we could talk about her another time because she also changed my life. But anyway, that was the moment in my life when I first started to believe that I was ugly. And I understood that I lived in a society where ugliness was a flaw. And so I did what everybody who thinks they have flaws on display does, and I tried to hide it. From there, I spent hours staring at myself in the mirror, scrutinizing every single detail of what I looked like until I had convinced myself that I would never meet society's beauty standards. And that led me to convincing myself that I needed to start wearing makeup in order to cover up the things that didn't meet society's beauty standards. And then that led to me feeling so ugly because I was feeling like I had to hide myself in order to look beautiful. Then one day I said to myself, I said, I said, what if I told you that the real ugly truth is not about what you see, but how you choose to see it? So today I am telling you guys the unfiltered journey that I had to go through in order to stop fighting myself and to learn how to start embracing all of myself, regardless of any perceived flaws in my mind or in reality. Get in, hotties. We're having a yap session. Also, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you have the option to hype it, please do so. YouTube is constantly changing, and now the algorithm thinks that hypes are the same as likes. So if you guys hype this video, it helps smaller creators like me become more visible in the algorithm. And I would really appreciate that. Let's get into it. So that story was definitely my descent into madness starting from middle school. And it is a huge reason why I started wearing full cover foundation in high school, 9th, 10th grade high school. Okay. I don't know if you guys remember the CoverGirl Queen collection. First of all, truly revolutionary line. Queen Latifah, biggest possible one. Okay, girl. But the CoverGirl Queen collection was out and you could get it. This was when you could get dark shades at the drugstore, like truly revolutionary times. Okay. And I was at Rite Aid. I haven't been to Rite Aid in years. That's such a throwback, but I'll never forget this. I was at the Rite Aid and I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, foundation that is my color. I can cover up all of my flaws with this. Mind you, at this point in time, all of the flaws were in my head, but we'll get into that later. If you know anything about full coverage foundation, you know that it is often heavy, okay? And that formula was not matte. It was very dewy. And I have always had oily combination skin, right? And so for me, that dewy formula on top of the fact that it was full coverage and already very heavy, man, it would get so greasy by the end of the day. Really, I don't even think it was making it to the end of the day. I wasn't setting with powder or nothing, just throwing the foundation on, okay? The reason why I used that foundation is because it would make my skin glow. And I would notice people would say, oh, like you're glowing, because I was looking mad shiny. Okay, they really were trying to be nice and telling me I was looking mad shiny, but whatever. Anyway, all of that was happening. And so it was oh my gosh, it was horrible for my skin. It made me like really have breakouts. Like I don't think I ever really had a breakout until I started wearing that foundation. In essence, I gave myself flaws and imperfections trying to cover up my perceived flaws and imperfections. Is that not crazy? Is that not crazy? That's low-key the story of my life. One day I'll tell you the story about why I started wearing glasses, but another day. But yeah, even when I noticed what it was doing to my skin, I still kept going because at that point I was too far gone. That story from middle school had already been haunting me for years. I had not had a boyfriend at that point either. So for me, the reason why I did not have a boyfriend is because whatever that little boy saw when he looked at me and said, "You, her," and laughed, that was the reason why. And so for me in high school, I feel like the pressure to have a boyfriend is like the stakes are so much higher, right? And I feel like that was also kind of fueling it, and we'll get into that later. But yeah, by high school, I had been ruminating on that scenario for so long. I just couldn't see reason. And I remember I was at the mall and this woman came up to me and she was like a modeling recruiter. And she was like, oh yes, like let me give you the information for you to take to your parents. Whoop, whoop, whoop. She was like, you'd be such a good model. You're so tall and your skin is perfect. At this time, I did not have any makeup on because I just was running to the mall real quick. Like there was like it was okay to have no makeup on, right? And I just remember thinking to myself, up until that point, everything she told me, I was eating it up. Like I was eating out of the palm of her hand. And the moment she said, your skin is like perfect, I was like, oh, this lady's a scam artist. Because my skin's not like, there's no way she's telling me my skin is perfect. Man, I was so far gone. I was like, my skin is not perfect. I'm not beautiful. Like, I am tall. Like, that part we could agree on, but like, you can't just be tall and be a model. I just could not see reason, you guys. If you it's crazy to think about now, honestly. And what makes it even crazier was I feel like a lot of people around me didn't fully notice how far gone I was because I was doing cosmetology. Like, so at my high school was like a magnet high school, and there were so many different magnets, and I chose to do cosmetology as my magnet. And so I was essentially in cosmetology school while I was in high school. And I think a lot of the people around me, that people that probably should have like noticed that I was pretty far gone and had low self-esteem, literally no self-esteem, truly. I think it was very easy for me to convince them that the heavy makeup was like just me like practicing the cosmetology skill. Mind you, I think we learned makeup like one semester out of the 3.5 year long program. And that was way after I started wearing my own foundation, right? But I think it was easy to almost like hide behind that. And the people that probably should have noticed and like, you know, poured over me and like spoke life over me, they couldn't. And truly, 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 I do believe I was too far gone that even if they did, I don't know if I would have heard it. I just felt like I was just like bottom barrel, like just very, very low self-esteem when it came to a lot of things, truly, but like not everything. But my looks, definitely one of them. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what color I want to do on my eyelids because I'm just trying to do like a basic reddish brown on the lids. I think I'm gonna do Cabernet. That being said, I do think my love of beauty would have blossomed naturally even without going to cosmetology school or feeling like I needed to put makeup on, because something I've learned, and we will talk more about this on the back end of this video, is I do genuinely enjoy the process of like beautification in its many forms, and that does include makeup. And maybe somebody that's deep into like feminist history can explain to me that me thinking I enjoy it is in fact a part of the patriarchy. Who knows? But I do enjoy it, and I think that's a conclusion that I've recently had to come to. Again, we'll talk about this more on the back end, but I just want to say that as like a little disclaimer, because I don't think it was being in the cosmetology program. I think being in the cosmetology program did like push how much more I wore makeup and how much of it I wore, and the whys, because they teach you how to alter, right? When you're learning makeup professionally, they teaching you how to alter different faces essentially. And so I was going home and doing that at 13, 14, 15, right? Way too young to be trying to alter my face. And so I think it definitely fast tracked a lot of my self-esteem issues, but I also think I would have still enjoyed it had I not had self-esteem issues. I hope that's making sense, guys. I don't know. So that was me throughout high school. I was very, very, very insecure about the way I looked, and I would attribute so much of the bad things that were happening to me to how I look. Thinking back on it now, it was truly just, oh my gosh, truly insane. But at that time, in the moment, I don't think I could be convinced that was not what was happening. Okay, keeping in line with the theme of today's video, we're going to deviate from my normal, very basic, very standard makeup routine. We're going to do a bit of graphic eyeliner. This is the NYX Epic Wear waterproof liner in white. No need to be fancy about the names here. Love that. If you are looking for an eyeliner, in any color, you could get this in black. You don't need it in white if you don't want to do graphic. When it says waterproof, it means it. Once you put this on, it does not come off. So I'm going to take a second to just focus so that I can get this placed where I need it to be so that I don't crash out. Please hold. Very, very, very pleased with this. Just going to let it dry down before I open my eye, because I've done that before. Open my eye and it's at the top. So far, so good. I'm going to put another coat on to make sure it's super white so it pops. But okay, we did what we came here to do. let's move on. So now we're in college. Now, as an adult, I feel like it's a bit more socially acceptable to have on a ton of makeup the older you get. College, I don't think is old enough to start that, but in college, nobody knows what they're doing. So nobody really has a place to call you out about it, I feel like. But right around when I was in college, social media started really starting to pop off. And I remember there was this tweet that started flying around, and it was like, fellas, you need to start taking the girl to go swimming on the first date. And obviously the implication of that is that the water is going to wash away her makeup and you'll see what she really looks like, that type of thing. Now, I didn't know really how to word it at that time, but that to me felt like such a betrayal, right? Because it's like, okay, when a woman is ugly, you laugh at her, you embarrass her, you say ew at the idea of her dating not you, but your friend. That was also insult to injury, but let's move on. But when she tries to do things to camouflage that ugliness, to feel less ugly, to be less ugly, you also want to mock her. It very much so felt like a betrayal. Like, what is the expectation here? Very much so, damned if you do, damned if you don't. And for me, the part about this that sucked the most was getting on Twitter. And again, this is like right when the internet as a place started to become a thing, right? So you can get on Twitter and see people's opinions from like across America. So to get on and see all these different women from all across America kind of co-sign what the men were saying by saying stuff like, oh, you could take me swimming, I don't have to put on all that makeup. And like I remember girls would be posting pictures of them wiping their face and going like this. And I mean, it very much so felt like there was a witch hunt on women at that point. That just felt very like, what are we doing right now? Now, as an adult, my first instinct is to realize that those girls that were doing that, those were just some pick-me's. And to be fair, they were in college figuring it out just like I was. At some point, there is not a woman amongst us who has not fallen victim to the patriarchy and internalized misogyny. So I can only fault them so far, right? Like everyone's complicit at that point, right? We're so young, we don't know any better still. But again, in the moment, I did not have that type of foresight or vision. Okay, it just very much so felt like there was this really unfair witch hunt happening. And this witch hunt sparked all of the I wear makeup because I like it, not because I need it kind of discourse, which, oh my gosh, every time those kinds of conversations would come up, I would feel so uncomfortable because I was at this point living in this very interesting dichotomy of genuinely enjoying doing makeup and just beauty, hair, all of that, but also still feeling like I needed it. So for me, when I would see this discourse online, I would think to myself, I do like it, but I also need it. So maybe I only like it because I need it. I started questioning what my real desires were. You know, I think college is also just a time where you start questioning, what do you like? Why do you like it? Who are you? Like, those are like normal questions for college. But in the context of just makeup, it very much so made me feel like, again, I just kind of felt like a fraud because it's like, okay, I like it, but probably not to the extent of how often I actually wear it, or how often I was actually wearing makeup exceeded how much I actually liked doing my makeup. I think that's a better way to say that. I remember, and this was out of college, it took me, I mean, like, I wouldn't even leave the house without some makeup on, with like some foundation, some like a full beat foundation, concealer, contour, highlighter, lip product, lashes. Like, no, I needed to be beat down to even open the door, which was just, it was like a prison. Right? It was a prison. And again, I did really enjoy makeup, but I was doing it even when I didn't enjoy it because I felt like I had to have it on. And because I felt like I had to have it on, every time I would see the discourse about people who do it because they like it, or people that don't need it, which I think is just an insane thing to say. Nobody needs makeup. It's whatever. It just led into me feeling like a fraud more and more and more. And it just spiraled so far out of hand. And I remember, this is crazy. This is like, Okay, I need to focus. I almost messed that up. I'm gonna share something which, I mean, okay, so I only talk to one of these girls anymore. So if you see this girl, yes, this is why I was acting weird about that. But I remember one year we went to Caravana and it was me and my 3 friends at the time. I felt comfortable being without makeup, my friends, with those girls. Those girls had like slept over my house before. They'd see me first thing in the morning. Like there weren't really any secrets there. All of those girls had known me from like since high school, college days. So I didn't feel like I had to hide anything, right? And I think that created like a weird sense of false confidence that they thought that I had. Because I will never forget, it was all 4 of us. We were hungry. I was like, let's order room service. And 2 of the girls were like, no, let's go to this cafe out. And I felt like this like paralyzing fear because neither of them put on makeup to go. Like they just literally, let's go to this cafe, let's eat and come back. And I was like, I knew in my mind, if you say I cannot go unless I put makeup on, they're going to look at you funny. They're going to intervene. You're going to show them just how insecure you are. You cannot say that. But we were at Caravana. Like the ballers were out. And not just the ballers, but like people that we knew, men that we knew. Was I attracted to the men that I'm thinking of? No, not even remotely. But the idea of a man that I knew seeing me without makeup, it was, I mean, I just couldn't. I literally just couldn't. And so I feel like I was like so weird about it. I was like, no, I don't want to go to this cafe. Although I was just previously gung-ho about the cafe. Excuse me. I was just gung-ho about the cafe before I realized we wasn't getting glam for the cafe. Now I'm cool on that. And I know those girls were probably so frustrated with me in that moment. Because girl, why is you being wishy-washy like this? But like, I could not admit just how low my self-esteem was when it came to my looks to these girls. Because I knew that it was just I just knew that I couldn't. Not that I didn't trust them. Looking back on it, I'm sure if I would have said that, it probably would have led to like an intervention in which they tried to like speak life over me. Like I truly believe that of those girls, especially at that time in all of our lives. Like I feel like they all would have like rallied around me and tried to like build up my self-esteem, but I just couldn't. I just could not have that conversation. It just wasn't where I was at mentally. Mind you, this was like when I was like 26, 27. The thing in middle school happened when I was 12. So we're 14 years. This is it. My life has already been altered. I can't go back. I cannot remember how I do my makeup anymore. Oh my God. Foundation first. But on my can't stop, won't stop. So like I said, I was dealing with this for years. Probably, if I really did the math, probably closer to 2 decades than 1, I was dealing with this. Like this was something that plagued me from my formative years until like fairly recently in my adult years. And looking back on it now, I can really see the areas of my life where being insecure and feeling ugly specifically shaped so much of the other areas of my life, especially with men. My God, today, the decisions I made with men because I felt ugly and I would feel like honored. There's just really no other way to put it. Like honored, blessed, lucky, fortunate to be getting that man's time was just, oh my gosh. If I could just go back in time, I would just yell at myself, girl, stand up.
Stand up! Stand up!
Okay. My God, I was in the trenches. And you want to know what was so crazy? This is to let you know how far gone I was. Like, I could not see what other people were seeing. I was so far gone. I don't think I've ever dated a man that wasn't conventionally attractive. Like, first of all, hold on. I've never dated a man. Because we're not going to claim men for the purpose of this. We still don't claim these Negroes, okay? But had I had some Negroes that needed to be claimed in my adult life, I don't have a single dude in the past that wasn't pressure. Like, I just don't. Body T, face card, never decline. And at no point did my mind ever reconcile, hey, you keep attracting these attractive men because you're attractive. My mind could only think, oh my gosh, I'm here with this attractive man. I hope he doesn't realize how ugly I am. Like, oh my gosh. And because I was constantly trying to like make sure they couldn't see how ugly I was, as if their eyes didn't work, as if they weren't looking at me all the time. Because I just didn't want to notice that, or rather, I wanted to overcompensate for that. I would be so amenable in ways that these Negroes truly did not deserve me to be amenable. I should have been so much stricter. The program, not strict. Admissions for everybody. We thank God for deliverance. We just have to thank him. We just have to fill this room with thank you, thank you.
Can we just fill this room with thank you, thank you?
And something that really, I mean, like, it low-key haunts me now. If I would be with a guy, the moment we got comfortable enough that I would let him see me like without makeup, he didn't know it, but that was like his sign that he was going to be able to take me inch. Because once a man saw me without makeup, my mind would be like, okay, now he's seen how ugly you are without your makeup. And if you do anything to upset him, he's going to leave you. He's going to call you ugly. He's going to bash you. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. Again, I was so, at this point, like, saying I was far gone doesn't even cut it. I was living in an alternate reality when it came to what I saw in the mirror. And to these men's credit, not one of them ever, there's the one psychopath I dated. Let's take him off the table, with the exception of the legitimate psychopath who was like gaslighting me about a ton of things, not just my looks. None of them ever tried to slight me on my looks. So it wasn't even like that these men were reinforcing this thing for me. It was all in my head, and it all really did stem back. I mean, I'm not gonna say all. There was obviously other things. Again, dark-skinned Black woman. There were things in society, like, come on. But like that one moment in gym class, and he probably never thought about, I'm so sorry, I'm going on a tangent. That little boy, grown man now, he probably never thought about that moment again. He probably never, and me, we were cool. It took me a while. I had to lick my wounds, but like, we were all in one school. We were only this many Black people. Like, we all knew each other. Like, it wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But he probably never thought about that moment again. And he has no idea how that moment shaped my life, my friendships, my abilities to leave the house. Like, he doesn't know that moment triggered 15, 20 years of just like psychological warfare, which is just crazy. But let's move on. As I was saying, yeah, like, none of this was being reinforced by like outside people. Like, obviously, again, there is societal pressure, but like, nobody in my life was reinforcing this but me. Oh gosh, those were some dark times. Those are some really dark times. And I truly would love to talk about how my looks affected my relationship with like sex, sexual intimacy, and also platonic intimacy, because I do think that all of those things had a similar result. But truly, I really thought this was going to be a short video. I did not expect this video to be so long. Clearly, I had a lot on my chest. We're not even done yet. No, all jokes aside, the fact that I'm not even done yet is actually insane. And now that I'm doing the math mentally, it's somewhere between 15 and 20 years that I went on this journey, which is a crazy amount of time to devote to a trauma that really stemmed from a 10-15 second interaction in middle school. That's actually really crazy to think about. That's why y'all gotta teach y'all kids to be kind. It's really taking everything in me not to start sobbing, because I'm really doing the math. This is the majority of my life. I've spent the majority of my life thinking I'm like this ugly duckling. And the crazy part is, whether I'm ugly or not, it should not have had that much power over my life. But you know, that's just the society that we live in. Beauty is currency. And look, ugliness is dead. You start in the hole when you're ugly. And when you think you're in a hole and you move and act like you're in a hole, this is all you know. This is a really insane thing. Anyway, this happened for years. 15, 20 years of my life gone. Feeling like I'm ugly, very low self-esteem, having it play out in all these different relationships, platonic relationships, romantic relationships. It's a lot. And so hopefully you guys can tell I'm using past tense language, right? Because I'm not in that space anymore. We just have to fill this room with thank you.
Thank you, God. I need somebody to help me say this to him. Say hallelujah.
But let me be clear, acceptance was a very slow process. First, one day I woke up and I was like, girl, you just gotta come to terms with how you look without me. Okay, you've gotta just accept what's looking back at you, whether you're having a breakout, whether you're having a good skin day, bad skin day, whether your hair done, your hair not, like, no matter what's happening, you just gotta be prepared to look at what's happening in the mirror. Okay, for me, acceptance looked like just being okay with the fact that I was ugly without makeup on. Because at that time, that's still just what I saw. I saw somebody ugly. I saw somebody unattractive when I was looking in the mirror. You know, it is what it is. And so for me, the first step was just accepting that, like, being ugly is not a moral failing, girl. This is it. You got one face. You too scared to do fast plastic surgery. So this is it. This is your face. This is a face you taking with you for the rest of your life. You're gonna have to accept that. Okay, so that was step one. Step two, much better step, or rather phase two, because I don't know if I was stepping, I was just kind of going through life. But phase two was realizing I'm actually gorgeous without makeup on. Like, like, no, like, the girl is exactly what she thinks she is without makeup on. And just like even the little things I would see, I have huge, massive pores, okay? And sometimes I feel like because my pores are so huge, it just, I don't know. I have a big nose, I have a big lips, I have very Afrocentric features, and they're gorgeous. This is a canvas. Okay, and you don't even gotta put nothing on it. The canvas itself is just good, high quality. Okay. And so I got to a place where I felt like I was gorgeous without makeup, but there were still insecurities there, especially if we're talking about my relationships with men. I still very much so felt like, okay, maybe this guy would want to be with a girl that maybe doesn't have this going on or that going on. And I would still pick apart my flaws. So that, you know, that took a little bit longer to go away, I won't lie, but it was not bad like it was in the beginning, and I'm just grateful for that. And then one day I just realized I didn't care anymore. Like, whether I was ugly or not, whether a man wanted me or not, like, I just didn't care anymore. Whether I ran into somebody I knew or not, just didn't care anymore. And I feel like you guys have seen sneak peeks of this journey, like on my vlogs, when I'm like, it's so crazy to me to be vlogging without makeup on, because as somebody who crazy, because I've been dealing with all of this. Meanwhile, I've been creating content, exposing my face to the internet for years. Life is crazy. I will say the stage of my life where I just don't care anymore didn't come from any kind of like journey of like acceptance or self-love on my part. I literally just think the older you get, the less you care about anything. People always joke and say, oh, old people always say out of pocket stuff because they're old and they don't care. But like, that really is one of the benefits of aging. You really, the things you care about become so high level. And for me, my appearance just was not on that level anymore. Like, look, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. I literally had to tell myself, like, girl, you've been getting this coochie ate with this face for years. It's clearly not stopped no show. You've been stacking your paper with this face for years. It's clearly not keeping you from the bag. Like, what? There's just no need for this, girl. You got bigger fish to fry, girl. And truly, it was just, you know, let's think about something important. You would think that all of this acceptance was the end of the journey, but alas, now after spending decades, let's just call it what it is, after spending decades of my life feeling ugly, thinking that I was ugly, believing that I was ugly, finally reaching a place where not only do I not believe that, but on top of that, I also don't care one way or the other, which I think for me has also been a very necessary part of this journey. Now I'm at a place where I'm like, I feel like I'm less happy because I don't do my makeup just to do nothing. Like, now I feel like I'm at a place where I'm only doing my makeup for special occasions, whether that's to film content for y'all. And then I say this in some of my videos too, like, I don't go anywhere. I literally wash it off as soon as I'm done filming. Sometimes let's like right now I have something else to do after this, but like, and sometimes I just may do it because the get ready with me is the medium, right? It's not me actually doing my makeup, but like, I won't take no pictures. I won't really like revel in the makeup, and I feel like I'm just sadder. I'm a sadder person for it. And I feel like somewhere along that journey, I kind of felt like doing your makeup just to take pictures was rooted in low self-esteem. And I think that stemmed from all of like the memes and the internet jokes that were made about women who do that. And I think I internalized that. But now that I'm no longer in that place, again, full circle moment, I'm realizing I genuinely did just like doing that. And now that I don't do that, I can really see clearly, like, no, that's the part of me that did enjoy the makeup. That's the part of me that was always going to enjoy the makeup, regardless of these insecurities and how I felt about the way I looked without makeup. I was always going to enjoy this thing. I also just think it's a part of girlhood. Get dolled up, take cute pics, like, it's girlhood. I am quite literally just a girl. Now, currently with me living in Japan, a huge reason why I don't do my makeup as often is the lack of access to beauty products, particularly in my shade, like the face products. And this was something I didn't fully appreciate, as I was talking about this with Mabo, and she would mention, oh yeah, she used to do her makeup just to sit in her room and take pictures too, and she doesn't anymore. But that's because she knows that if she runs out of something, she can't just like go to the store and get a new one. And that is a huge reason why she doesn't do it anymore. And when I thought about it, I was like, you know what? Yeah, that is a factor for me as well that I've definitely considered. I've been very fortunate that whenever people come to see me in Japan, or even just in Japan, whether they come to see me or not, they like are always like, hey, do you need me to bring anything? And I always send them right to Ulta. Look, here's my order. It's under my name. Just go ahead and pick it up for me. And they always come through. And so anyway, I'm very fortunate that I do have people in my life that have been able to facilitate that for me. But people are not going to keep coming to Japan whenever I need them. So that's not a long-term solution. That being said, you guys, y'all know, listen, y'all know I don't play about this little She Glam eyebrow wax and the She Glam lip pencil. I'll be using this lip pencil today, actually. If y'all want to see a full face of She Glam so y'all can get a non-influencer review of the products, y'all let me know. Okay, because I got one of everything from She Glam in the cart right now, just waiting. I just need a reason to press purchase. Okay, I just need a reason because I've decided I will be going back to doing my makeup just to sit in the house, just to do nothing and taking pictures and getting dolled up for no reason. Like, I'm not losing these recipes. Okay. Do I want to do a heavy lash? It's actually not even that heavy. Let's clean it up a bit. Please hold. Now, if anything I'm saying is resonating with you, allow me to offer you these two statements. Statement number one, you are inherently beautiful and your worth is not tied to any of the constantly fleeting beauty standards that you are consistently being bombarded with. Statement number two, I fully understand if you think that that's a crock of BS. Because when I was going through it and I would hear people say stuff like that, I also thought it was a crock of BS. Let me tell you about the journey of mastering and building your self-esteem. It is a journey that only you can take. Only you can take it. Even just thinking back to the story I said about when we were in Caravana, I have no doubt that if I would have confided in those girls, they would have poured into me and they would have told me every kind thing about myself and they would have highlighted all the good things about me, like physical too. Like, I don't think any of them would have tried to sugarcoat it. I think they would have been like, oh, you have a great smile and you have a great skin and your teeth and your, like, they probably wouldn't have said I had great skin. They wouldn't have lied. But they would have been very, I believe they would have been very kind in how they attempted to reassure me, and they would have put out all the parts that I was too blind to see. But the reality of it is I was too blind to see it, and I didn't even want to try to see it, which is why I didn't say anything to those girls. It was better for me to have a few of my friends think that I was wishy-washy and being weird than to explore that very uncomfortable part of my self-esteem, my insecurities. And then even in my journey, a lot of it was just time, taking time to come to terms with it. And nobody can teach you time passing, right? It's just something that is. The only thing I can really say is if you're in a season of your life, if you truly believe that you are ugly, just keep reminding yourself being ugly is not a moral failure. Being ugly is not something that should be keeping you from getting the job that you want, having the life that you want, getting the partner that you want. It's not something that should have so much control over how you're living. Understand we live in a society where beauty is currency, but unattractive people get good things all the time. And if you really believe that you're unattractive, you need to start also believing that you're one of those unattractive people that's going to get good things. Okay? And then finally, 5, 10, 20 years from now, hopefully it doesn't take you as long as it took me, you can look back and think, you know what? I'm glad I did start thinking that this was not a moral failing because it wasn't. And I deserved the good things then and I deserve them now. Don't be like me. Okay, guys. This is the look. I don't know why I thought it would look more exotic. Now with the lash on, I can't even see the white anymore, like unless I turn to profile. Don't get me wrong, still love it. It looks good. I don't know what I was expecting. But yeah, I'm gonna say it again. Being ugly is not a moral failing. I think that if you are truly at the same place that I was in, that's probably what you need to hear and build from there. Anywho, this is the final look. When you guys see this exact same makeup in my Christmas vlog, listen, the way that it's eating right now, I'm gonna recreate this entire thing, just a different sweater. I mean, yeah. Okay. Y'all need to go play in some makeup. Okay. Not now, but right now. Okay. Because I can't wait to get these pictures off. They're finna eat so bad. Anywho, I really do hope this video reaches its target audience. I fully understand what it's like to have low self-esteem regarding the way you look, to think that you're ugly, to think that you don't fit into society's beauty standards. And I really understand how it can alter so much of your life. So much of the decisions you make are surrounding your perspective on how you look. And I also understand how freeing it is to let go of all of that baggage and just embrace who you are and what you like and what you don't like. And truly, I wish this kind of freedom for all of my girlies who are currently dealing with this. If you like this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up on your way out. And if you have the option to hype it, please give it a hype. The YouTube algorithm likes when you hype small content creators. It helps small creators like me cut through the noise of the algorithm and allows this channel to grow and for this video to reach its target audience. Also, I don't know how I've went the entire video without saying this, but if you guys can relate, please tell me I'm not the only one that has ever experienced such a journey. Let me know in the comments. Let's talk. This is a safe space. You know how we do this. I will see you guys in the next video.